Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is September 5th, 2024, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the Japanese yen getting stronger versus US dollar. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So at 4 p.m. South African time, we have an ISM Services PMI number coming out from the United States. I'm looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbols. The euro gets a bounce, and as we shift over to the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ pretty much unchanged, just very slightly up or down. And looking at commodities, gold gets a bounce to above 2,500, while oil is sitting on support at $69 a barrel. Now looking at the stocks, they really wavered, but Tesla did get a bounce. And lastly, look at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin on support. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now, it's not a big bounce. It's about 40 pips, but it's meaningful. Why is it meaningful? Well, we went from 107.80-ish level to 111-ish, okay? And we did retrace. Now, I expected this retracement to be a little bit lower to maybe 110.03, 110-ish level flat, but it didn't go all the way back down there. It's a little bit higher than that, and then it bounces. So we may be just consolidating in this area, at least for now, but not doing much of a change there. Now looking at the GBP USD, also got a little bit of a bounce, not as much, but this is really important. Now looking at the Japanese yen, look at it strengthen versus the US dollar. If we look at a daily chart, we are inching on to supportish level at 141-ish level, as this has gotten much, much stronger versus US dollar. I mean, look at that. That is just a nosedive for the dollar. Okay, remember, if it's going from 160 to 140, that means the Japanese yen is getting stronger, not weaker. Okay, it means that the dollar is getting weaker versus the Japanese yen. So it's a little bit confusing with currencies because you always got to flip it over. Now, looking at commodities, gold gets a nice bounce above 2,500. So this does mean that it was a nice play, okay, if you did catch it, right? We were just trading at 24.80 yesterday. And that was a nice play on the upside, a nice, decent range-bound trading, just buying support, simple, and then holding up to 2,400. Now, looking at crude oil, it's on supportish level. What I wouldn't be more inclined to buying this because a couple of reasons. We're going into a hurricane season, okay? August, end of August, September is hurricane season. That disrupts the flow of oil, and that generally allows us to actually push the price of oil higher, but it's not happening, okay? So there seems to be that the market isn't responding so aggressively to any kind of threats for it, and we sold off quite aggressively here, okay? So with that, those two elements said, okay, we may just see a bounce here, okay, but it would be significant if we did, because this is really bound for one. Now looking at the Dow Jones, didn't do anything much yesterday, okay? You can see we're at 41,010-ish level. I mean, if we look at a 4-hour chart, you can see we really just grinded yesterday, did nothing. On the NASDAQ also, we just grinded a little bit more, I would say, weaker than the Dow Jones, okay, if we could say that. If we look at those stocks, okay, Microsoft, let's take a look at it. Microsoft showing some life here, but not enough to really give us that oomph that we're going to see a turnaround. Facebook also, not that much of an oomph here. Okay, so there's nothing really pushing us higher per se. Now, what highlight do I want to say is Tesla. Tesla got a decent bounce yesterday. Okay, it was almost the only green stock on the board. Okay, again, it's trading in a range. It's a very tight range until we're breaking out of it. Okay, I don't see any kind of direction in the markets, especially we have NFP tomorrow, so we'll see a lighter trading day in anticipation to NFP. And then on the 18th, we have the FOMC rate statement, which is super important as well. So those two elements are there in the background. Now, lastly, let's take a look at NVIDIA, also showing some weakness here at 104, even though it did get a bounce yesterday. It sold off right afterwards. So there's some softness there. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin on its supportish level, and this is really important because it's showing some weakness around this area. And if it does break this 56-ish thousand with some momentum, we could see it go even further down. This is Razak, wishing you a great trading day. Thank you.